Welcome back, Truth Seeker. We've been keeping an eye on Bob Dylan in light of Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota in his home state. Super Bowl 52 is going to close out the 98th season of the NFL. I've stated that Bob Dylan will make the perfect ritual sacrifice for this game. And when I talked about that, I said he could die before or after the game, but his death will be in connection to the Super Bowl. Every year, people are ritualistically sacrificed for these sports championships. And the reason why goes back to the ancients. There's always been ritual with human sacrifice and sport. And since covering that, we've seen the death of Bob Dylan's biographer in the media, and recently the death of his ex-girlfriend from Minneapolis, where the Super Bowl will be. This week in the news, they brought up Bob Dylan's Grammys performance in 1998 and how it was interrupted by Michael Portnoy, who ran on the stage with soy bomb on his chest. And consider, this happened in 98. Now we're talking about the Super Bowl to close out the 98th season of the NFL and how Dylan's going to be a sacrifice for it. Here was that moment right here. Bob Dylan was performing and this guy just ran up with soy bomb written. They say that this was a random act, unplanned. Well, that's a lie because the gematria tells all. Soy bomb sums to 98 like the year it happened. And this number is connected to prophecy, All of these men, when they sign up for their celebrity status, they sign their lives away. And I think oftentimes they sign the date of their planned death in this ongoing planned and scripted world we're living out, which so many people don't understand. The people who control this world have planned decades in advance. They've scripted the sports games that far out. They have your news planned out. Things such as 9/11. There's a reason that happened at the beginning of the century, right after your presidential administration became the think tank that was known for the Project for a New American Century, which wrote a document about how we needed a new Pearl Harbor so that we could go to war in the Middle East and create a whole new agenda domestically that's like building a police state. All this stuff's out in the open and nobody even seems to pay attention or care. But if you are paying attention, it's obvious that we're living out a planned out agenda. 9/11 was planned from the day the World Trade Centers were constructed and long before that, in the 60s. So anyway, 1998, no doubt this incident was pointing to the Super Bowl to close out the 98th season in Bob Dylan's home state, Minnesota. And you know what else is interesting? The X-Files, the TV show, in their latest episode, which came out this past Wednesday, the man has a board up in the background and he's connecting all these conspiracies, and he connects the 98 soy bomb incident with Bob Dylan on the stage. Again, I'm always telling you, the news, the TV, what's going on, it's all part of one synced web. What are the odds that he brings the Bob Dylan soy bomb incident into the thing he's looking at? I mean, it doesn't make any sense when he shows in the episode, but there's a reason they're putting this before your face. This is right before the Super Bowl to close out the 98th season. So you see how it goes? Soy bomb guy is interesting as well because it sums to 144, talking about how Bob Dylan's born on the 144th day of the year, what that number has to do with time and killing. His biographer died on 12/12. 12 times 12, 144. But look at this. With regards to 98 being 20 years ago, talk about this a lot too. The letter T, lowercase t, is the 20th letter. It's like a cross, the lowercase t. And in reduction gematria, time equals 20, so does cross. So do seasons. The pagans used the cross to represent the 4 seasons. The word death also 20, And in regards to 144, Bob Dylan born on the 144th day of the year. In Jewish gematria, time also 144. So is killer. Time. The guaranteed killer. So understand, just everything in this world that comes through the media is contrived. There is nothing that's authentic. Nothing. Like they're trying to tell you this story was just inspired. You know, he just wrote soy bomb in his chest and just jumped up there. Not at all. You know, this was all planned. And the plan was way deeper than just the 98 Grammys. Plan was for the end of Bob Dylan's life. You know, like I said before this season began, this season connected to the flood. In 1976, Bob Dylan went down to Houston, where the last Super Bowl was hosted last year, and he performed a benefit concert for Reuben Hurricane Carter. In 76, Reuben Carter ended up dying at 76. Years later, Bob Dylan's 76 while all of this is going on. Number that connects to blood sacrifice. But this is what it is, you know? For all of you who follow my work and can't get other people to listen, just realize the other people are brain dead. They are absolutely retarded. I've been here since 2013 showing day after day how everything's this way. For people to continue to look at this and call it coincidence, I mean, that's just a sign of complete retardation. And that is the word to use. Retardation means stunted. You live in a nation of very stunted people. The only reason the crap that goes on in this nation can go on is because of how stunted, how retarded people are. September 11th, 2001, that was, you know, that's like the equivalent of how obvious that lie was is coming home as an adult. You got the cookie jar wide open, and you got your 6-year-old that you told not to eat any cookies until you got home. He's telling you he didn't eat any cookies, but he's got chocolate all over his face, all over his fingers. There's a mess all over. There's cookie crumbs everywhere, and all the cookies in the cookie jar are gone. And he's sitting there telling you with crumbs and chocolate all over his face and body that he didn't eat the cookies. That's how easy it was to see the lies in 9/11 as well, and the only reason people couldn't see it is because they were retarded. And the same reason people can't see the truth of this work is because they're retarded. You know, the people of this nation are next to hopeless, but that doesn't mean you should be hopeless. That just means the people who are awake need to unite and do something to change. These hopeless retards, their opinions, their thoughts, they don't mean anything. These idiots would follow anything. They are so retarded they would follow anything as long as it came through the television. So you know what that means the awake people need to do? The awake people need to organize and take over the news media. Because the day we're on the news media, the retards will just follow. And we don't want them to follow blindly, but they will, because that's what they do. That's what these retards do. You know? You can show them the truth all day. Doesn't make any difference. They only believe. And it has to come from the things they believe, like the television. You know? If I was on TV right now on NBC giving this presentation, they'd all be glued to it. You know, they'd already be telling everybody about it. They only trust the liars. That's the problem. And again, it's because these people are retarded, you know? Who trusts the TV? Only a retard would trust the TV. Sadly, almost everyone is a retard. So, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. By the way, if you haven't seen this episode, watch this episode. Season 11, Episode 4 of The X-Files. Just completely mocks truth. And you'll see it's also talking about all this stuff that's buzzing on the web. But, yeah, check this out if you get a minute. When the retards watch it, they won't grasp anything that's being presented in there, you know. But the person with eyes to see will. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.